American cities are growing, but their infrastructure isn't keeping pace. Urban population increased by 12% between 2000 and 2010. 4 out of every 5 Americans live in cities or suburbs. But look at this list of cities with the best infrastructure in the world. What's missing from this list? America. Not a single American city makes the top 10. The highest, by the way, in America is Atlanta at number 13, Dallas at number 15, Washington, D.C. at number 22 in the world. The richest country in the world doesn't make the top 10 in terms of city infrastructure. This is from Mercer, by the way, the survey. It ranks cities based on electricity and water infrastructure, congestion, public transportation, and airport effectiveness, which is probably what got some of these American cities onto the list in the first place. But Americans shouldn't be surprised. China spends about 9% of its total economic output on infrastructure. Europe spends about 5%. 50 years ago, by the way, the U.S. spent about 5%, but now we spend half as much at 2.4%. U.S. cities have a problem, but I just sort of made it look like it was a spending problem, that China spends more, Europe spends more. Is it a spending problem?
Well, you know, U.S. cities are the great strength of the American economy's comeback. When you look at all the studies that have been done, the McKinsey studies and other studies our research group has done, Ken's colleague Ed Glazer has done at Harvard, cities are a key part of our productivity and innovation advantage, the diversity of our cities. But clearly we have lagged at infrastructure spending, and according to some reports, we need to spend about another $2 trillion just to get up to par, get that up to from 2.5% to 5%. But one of the things that's so important with having Ken on, in his critical book on systemic crises and how these crises play out, one of the things that we found in looking at his work in an urban context is the key to recovery is not just government spending. It's not just a Keynesian demand-side spending or stimulus. It's the creation of new urban infrastructure.
How do city governments make sure that city residents get what they pay for?
I don't think there's any simple answer to this. And by the way, one reason we might want a national infrastructure bank is not for the money, but just to provide oversight and ombudsman so that you have somebody to go to when you have a project, a regulator, an interlocutor perhaps. But yeah, we definitely should allow private money. There is an additional problem, and Richard probably knows a lot more about this, about so-called eminent domain, where you can't just clear things out. In China, they used to at least just knock on your door and say, you're moving. We're building a road here. You got to move out of your apartment tomorrow. We can't do that. And so it makes it trickier in our older cities to just rebuild in the way that they did in China.